Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm actually doing makeup on one of my friends. She is taking her engagement pictures with her soon to be hubby. And anyway, she just wanted something a little different than what she's used to doing. So she asked me, and of course I said yes. We're getting started with packing concealer on the eye, and it's going to act as her primer. I like to do the eyes first when I do more glam because we can wipe off any glitter excess. This was literally just a great video to do because clearly we laugh and have such a great time together. We were joking all throughout this, talking about YouTube and the makeup channels and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it looks like a lot of concealer at first, but you really just want to pack it down so it will last. We are in Mississippi, and yes, it is February, but that day it was actually very hot outside. And with the James Charles Painted palette, and going in with just a light brown as our transition shade first. The concealer I used was the Tarte Shape Tape concealer, and I just love using that as an eye primer base because it is so pigmented. But here as you can tell, I'm doing like windshield wiper motions. It's a little different doing it on others than myself, but as I'm doing it, I'm really focusing on the outer V. And when sometimes I'll start to kind of blend out towards the end of the eyebrows, fluffy brushes, and just layering a lighter shade, darker shade, and then a more darker shade, really. Just right now we're trying to get the tone of browns. So here I'm using a smaller brush and going in with a darker color, and you can just see it's becoming more defined than it was in the very beginning. So now I'm starting to go in with an even darker shade. I believe this is going to be our last dark shade before we move on to the center and inner corners of the eye. She has nice blue eyes, and she did have tanner on as well. You can kind of see on her chin it's a touch darker. But yeah, we did, I believe, like a neutral shimmer, like a goldy neutral shimmer. She normally wears lots of pinks and stuff, but she did say she wanted to be more neutral glam for this look, and you can see the definitions on here. And now here we are. I'm going in with my finger just because that's where you get the most payoff for your shimmer, and it's just a pretty light gold champagne color. Basically wherever the lighter colors are, and then kind of on top of the dark, and I will just blend it together in a minute. It looks a little crazy at the moment. Clearly we're just talking through this. So then I went in and just kind of buffed that in so the glitters kind of stay more. I'm pretty sure I sprayed my brush with some setting spray. So right now we're just kind of blending shimmers on top of each other to get the right color. So now I'm just layering an even brighter shimmer on top. So basically I'm just layering a normal champagne and then a brighter champagne. You can see the difference kind of right there, and making sure I'm getting it in the inner corner, and just really I'm tapping it, like pressing it, but I'm also rubbing at the same time so it kind of comes off my finger better. But now you can kind of see the eyes coming together. I'm going to go in with a darker shade just to darken up that outer V again. Putting the shimmer all over the lid is just like an easier way. I believe this is actually a darker shimmer I'm going in first with, and then I started using a more matte color, and we're going to blend from here. And kind of hard with my brush, but I'm really not. I'm barely tapping it and rubbing at the same time, and I'm just going in that outer V shape. That's a really good area. You can kind of see it just blend all together right there. Kind of, you can see it go darker on our outer corner, and then it ends up fading out lighter towards the end of our eyebrow tail. So now I'm just going to go ahead and start filling in her eyebrows. She actually has a very good eyebrow shape, and the cat at this moment turned off my plug. She was playing with the cords and unplugged my light. So we're going to turn the light back on. Yes, there we go. And anyway, so now we're just kind of filling in the eyebrows. Her shape is already pretty good. We just made like the front darker and the tail a little longer. She doesn't do a whole lot to her brows, so we didn't want to just crazily change her shape. But yeah, we're just kind of squaring off the fronts, and where she has a few little gaps, we're filling them in. There's a good little eye view of the eyes, of the shimmers and everything. It was so pretty on her. So this is just like a Benefit brow pencil. I'm pretty sure this is in the shade Soft Brown. It's the same shade I use, and we kind of have the same hair color, really. So, yeah, I just filled them in, and it matched her little eyebrow hairs. And then I kind of flipped my camera around, so now she's going to start looking in the viewfinder the whole time. Look at her smiling, so pretty. Now I have some micellar water, and I am just, it looks like I'm going pretty rough, but I really am barely touching her face, I promise. I was trying to get some glitter off. But I try to wipe as much glitter off as I can, and I went ahead and sprayed the eyes to help with excess glitter falling off. Y'all, I just can't look at us looking at it. Anyway, I believe we went with the one to the left. It's more of a darker color. See, there's the eyes up close. Good job, Madison. We went with the more to the left because her chest is dark. She does have a top on, everyone. She wanted to make sure I told everybody that in this video. I did a mixture of the two. I did the lighter color in the middle of her face, and then I did the darker color to the right on the outer parts of her face, and on her forehead right there. So that's the darker shade. With bronzer and concealer and everything, it's just all going to come together. But just applying the foundation with a little brush, and then I'm going to really go in and buff it out really nice. Her neck wasn't as dark. She says her neck can never really tan that well, but it will match her chest by the end of the day. So first I'm going around the outer areas on her face, and that is with the darker color. The darker color we used was Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation. I love this foundation, and she actually already uses it as well. So she does have a really good foundation that she uses. The lighter color was the House Labs foundation, and I know that shade was 120. I don't know the name, but I know the number is 120. That is my lighter foundation. I didn't know if she was actually going to be self-tanned or not, so that's the one I brought. I should have brought two. But anyway, it works out. It actually blended out to a perfect shade. I like to buff it in with a brush first, at least for foundation. And I don't really go all the way under her eyes, as you can see, because you're already going to lay your concealer there. There's no point in you just adding product on top of product. So now I'm going in with a little bit more on her redness areas of the House Labs, and just kind of carving out around her eyebrows as well, so it gets that nice and pretty line. But yes, that's blended out, and I'm going to go straight in with contour. This is a Milk makeup stick. I'm not sure of the shade, but there she is. She loves that wave that some of her beauty influencers do on TikTok that she follows. How I put this on was I applied a lot to my brush, and then I warm it up on the back of my hand, so it all goes on the brush evenly and then onto the face evenly. This contour shade is so good because it kind of has like more of a cool undertone. She told me I need to start practicing the wave, so that's what we're doing here. Anyway, so we're just putting this everywhere that we contour. I love this foundation on her. You can tell it just looks so glowy and youthful. But now we're using the bronzer. So the bronzer is the LYS Sculpting Stick in the shade Harmony. I kind of already layered it on her forehead, and then I just haven't really blended out. I like to layer this on, let it sit for a second, and then blend it out. It's such a good formula. I like to do all cream products, and then we'll powder them to set them. This is the Rare Beauty blush in the shade Hope. It's just a pale muted pink. It just honestly looks good on everybody's skin tone. I was trying to figure out if I didn't know how much blush I wanted to do, but then she told me she does like blush, so I'm pretty sure I went and added a lot more by the end of the video. So with my blush, I do like to apply it with a brush and then dab over with a sponge. And then once it's blended out enough, I will just go over everywhere with the same sponge just to kind of make sure everything's blended together. Y'all, a fun fact about her, she has that little dimple when she smiles. And yep, there it is right there. And so does her mom, and so does her older sister. It's like hilarious how they all have it. Anyway, so now I'm going in with concealer. I'm pretty sure I used the same Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Light Sand. And we are just going to brighten that area up. She says she loves a good bright under eye. So that is exactly what we're going to give her. Thankfully, she kind of has that yellow undertone, especially when people have that olive tan on. You already kind of pull more of that yellow undertone. So it's just blending all together. I did let it set for just a second before I started going in and blending it out. I feel like when you let your concealer set for just a second, it always has more pigment. And I'm trying to just press this in this same spot, so we're not trying to blend it like super much out. And then I'm also trying to be careful of the eyeshadow to not touch too much of it. And we will, of course, do like touch-ups for the eyeshadow more towards the end of the video. After that's all blended out, I'm going to go ahead and set the under eye down. This is Huda Beauty, I think it's Pound Cake, whichever one is the more of a yellow undertone. I have Cupcake and Pound Cake, but I'm pretty sure this is Pound Cake. I'm going to let it just sit a little bit and just kind of help bake and brighten under that eye. Doing the forehead, the nose, kind of her T-zone area where she does sweat a good bit, and then of course the chin. This powder is so good in blurring at the same time, so I kind of do just like to press this in most of the area. So now I kind of barely swipe a little bit, and then I'm going to go in and kind of pat. This is just contour, and this is Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil, or actually I think this is the dark chocolate one. It's just the darker version of the milk chocolate as our contour. Look at them cheekbones. She's saying something to the camera here, but I don't know what, because clearly I muted the video. One can only imagine. That's actually milk chocolate I'm going over top of the dark chocolate with, just kind of giving it a more gradient effect. Not too harsh. Since we're going in with powders, now it's all about blending everything and blurring, making sure everything blurs and blends together, really. I think I go in and out of the same two products for a minute just to make sure they're super, super blended. This is also the Anastasia Contour Kit, and the shade Fawn is the more cool tone color. And I'm also going ahead and putting a little bronzer on her nose. She says she never contours it, so I didn't want to make it like super sharp looking. I did just want to give it a little bronzer so it wasn't so pale. And now I'm going in with NARS Laguna, and I'm hitting the high points of her cheeks with that. And that's just her bronzer shade, so you can see it there. Now we're going in with blush. This is ColourPop Perry Air, I think is what it's called. It looks exactly like the Dior 100, I think it is. Whatever that really pale pink is, that's super viral. It is basically like a dupe for it, and it's just like the perfect pop of color. I still add more blush on her throughout the video. Now we're going in with highlighter, and this is in the shade Enlighten by Rare Beauty. I'm just trying to hit the high points of her cheeks. She does like a glowy look, so I'm just going to throw it really everywhere that I normally throw it, you know, the nose, eyebrow area, and the chin, maybe the Cupid's bow, if I remember. But anyway, so the base is finally coming along, and we're going to finish out the eyes in just a second. I do just let that bake sit there for as long as actual possible. I wiped it off. I guess I took it out of the frame, but wiped it off, and I'm just spraying her face down really good with the setting spray. I really drenched it in it, and that kind of like brought those powders back to life, really, and gave her that glow. So when we were wiping away the bake and everything, I clearly got a little happy, and so now I'm blending out a couple darker shades on the eyes to finish it off. This is like one of my favorite things to do, and I'm sorry it's not in focus, but I'm using a dark brown eyeshadow and using a really flat brush, and I'm just going across her lash line. She did not want to use false lashes. She said she feels like her eyes are never fully open with them. So since she was taking pictures, you know, she didn't want that heaviness on her eyelid. So we're just deepening it up here where you can finally see it in focus. And I really just wiggle it along the lash line. That's going to help appear like an eyeliner, but also give her a really thick lash line. Really just helps make your lashes look thicker, basically. But I'm just really wiggling that all around, kind of like tight lining the inner corners, inner parts of your lid. I'm just tight lining the outer parts, but it makes such a big difference. I honestly do this every time like I have like going out makeup on. It just helps like brings it together. I did do a touch of a baby wing, and I've just got more of a dark color shadow and kind of just blended it and smoked it out, you know, just to have like those finishing touches. We're going more glam than natural for this. And most of these brushes I've been using are the Morphe ones. That's a Morphe one, and I really do like them. They're very soft and gentle on the eyes and the skin. I think I like the eye brushes more than the base, but anyway. So now it's coming together. We're almost done. Adding some sparkles and brightening up the inner corner. This is Huda Beauty. Just a little bit of a brown cream liner. And I'm going to go in same brush as I did earlier. And now we're just really like blending and smoking out the bottom lash line. I didn't want to do it too dark because these pictures were during the day, and you know, you don't want to close off your eyes to make them look darker in the camera and everything like that. So I did keep it more natural, but also giving it like definition at the same time. She said this was literally the worst part because I was basically tickling her eyes, and she does wear contacts, so you can see her blinking quite a lot. So now I'm taking an even lighter shade and just kind of smoking that out a touch more on the bottom lash line. We didn't clearly go the full, like you can see where her crease starts. Sometimes people go all the way down there, but we just kind of smoked out what we had. Now I'm curling the lashes. I was trying to make sure we were in frame. I kept asking her if it hurt, and she would say no, so then I'd press, and then she would say, oh yeah, just a little bit. She didn't really know how to curl them. So we finally figured out how to curl her lashes. She has such long lashes already. They were really good. She's blessed. She doesn't think she has long lashes, but she actually really does. But anyway, so this was probably the most scariest part for me. It's been so long since I've had to curl someone else's lashes. Going in with Rare Beauty mascara. I used a mixture of Rare Beauty and also the Milk makeup one. And this was also super hard. I wanted her to put her own mascara on, but she said she was going to make a mess. So I said I would just go ahead and do it. There is Huda Beauty more baking powder on the outer corners just to sharpen up those edges and brighten that a little bit more. I did that before I went in with the mascara. But yeah, so now we're both concentrating super hard. I'm pretty sure I held my breath the whole time I was doing this too. I kept coming up for air. It was so funny. But I was just concentrating. I did not want to mess anything up. This mascara is pretty good for volume and length. It has like more of a chunky look, which since she wasn't wearing lashes, we wanted to kind of show them off as much as we can. I swear, y'all, she is a hoot. So this is the makeup, not the makeup, this is the Milk mascara that I was talking about. I really like this mascara, y'all. I think this is just a sample size, but it thickens your lashes, but they're also natural looking, which I think is the best way to be. I'm either like more all glam natural or full glam not natural. So now I'm just wiping that bake off, and I feel like it just like opens her face up. I like to do that on every bite. Just kind of cleans up all the lines. But eyes are just like everything. So I just went in a little bit and just kind of blended out that line so it looks more blurring and natural. We are almost to the end, guys. Yes, she is showing y'all my favorite lip liner that my dogs did get a hold of. This is Makeup Forever Anywhere Caffeine. And it is, it's not very creamy, but it will last forever since it's not as creamy. It still glides on with a good bit of pigment. But it's just like, I don't know, it's just the best. I don't have, another good one is Weber Walnut. I haven't tried that one, but I think it's just a little less red toned. Anyway, here's her feeling herself. Clearly, she is so sassy, and I told her to act serious. Look at her. I just cannot. I think I was trying to figure out what lipstick I wanted to use on. Just putting some bronzer and highlighter on her chest to finish it off. You can see old Joshy in the back looking snazzy in his suit for their first little set of pictures. I told her to get skinny so we can see those collarbones to put some highlighter. I was going to use that highlighter cream, but I totally forgot it, so we had to just go in with powder, which is fine. I did spray her chest too to hopefully kind of keep it there and not move too much. But as you can see, her face and neck, and I just went ahead and topped off her cheeks because who doesn't love a good glow? But we were kind of pressed for time at the end. We just got chatting way too much. I didn't really take that many pictures of it. But anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. Her picture turned out so cute. And oh, here's me showing her. I told her she was acting way too dramatic for the camera. Look at her. He did like it. So anyway, but bye-bye.